Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Antoine Medley. I'm the host and creator of the Force Pivot podcast, and welcome to the show. We made it back again, season one, episode six. Last week we had a really good discussion with Craig Stokes. If you didn't catch that one, you can go again. You can go catch it on all the podcast platforms that are out there. We're fortunate enough to have our podcast any and everywhere you can find it, because I know I go looking for it sometimes, and when I see it in certain places, it baffles me. So, I want to hope you guys can go check it out, listen to all of our old shows, listen to them, give us a rating, give us a review, let us know how we're doing, and hopefully we're headed in the right direction. Because again, this thing is brand new to me. But I feel like we're making progress, right? As long as we continue to do it, hopefully the better things will get. And so, because again, this here is a forced pivot for me, as in, I'm pushing myself out of my own comfort zone, trying to figure out some things, trying to find out, what direction I want to go in with this, and hopefully it'll help me get to some other places that I'd like to go. I've done a lot of different things in my past, and there's never been any fear to do anything. So even with this, it's like, okay, well, I've never done this before, but I'm not afraid, so I'm going to do it because I mean, what am I hurting? I'm not hurting anything by doing this. Hopefully the guests that we've had in the past has the only thing they've done is help people, because I know they've helped me, because I've gotten a lot from the different guests that we've had on, a lot of motivation, a lot of it's a lot of our conversations have been just simply therapeutic for me, because I'm in a time in my life where I need that. I mean, I don't need any garbage in my mind. I don't need anything seeping into my head that just means nothing. Everything that comes into my head, I want it to mean something. And sometimes I scour the internet and scour social media at times, and I run across things that just like stop me in my tracks. I was on LinkedIn today, just looking around, and a friend of mine posted something on LinkedIn and it just stopped me in my tracks. And I had to call him. I was like, I hit him on LinkedIn. I was like, "Hey, man, thanks for sending that." I was like, I needed that. And I said, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna steal it, and I'm gonna post it on other social media platforms as well. And then he hit me back, and we had a little conversation. And so hopefully we're gonna plan some time to get together and meet up, break some bread, just sit back and talk. We've been friends for a long time. So I want to shout you out, Wayne White. I want to shout you out, man. Thanks for sending the note that you sent, because it helped me, and I'll share it with you. He posted something that said, sometimes the right path is not the easiest one. And that stopped me in my tracks, because I, I understand that completely. I mean, we make pivots in our lives, and sometimes we're forced to make those changes in our lives, and they're not easy. But if you're an eternal optimist like me, you'll see them as a challenge, right? And that's how I see everything. I see everything as a challenge, and I tell myself, well, Antoine, you can't fail, because I know what I'm gonna put into things. So I tell myself, well, you can't fail, so why not just go ahead and try, you know, you know, because whatever you do is gonna be okay. It's not gonna kill you to try. I'm not saying I'm trying to go jump some buses on a motorcycle or something. That's different. But just other natural things in life and things that you want to go do. Hey, I mean, go for it, because I decided, hey, I want to go back to school, so I went back to school and got my MBA. I was writing papers, and one of my professors tried to get me to go get my doctorate, and she was like, Antoine, this paper is doctorate material. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't have a desire to do that. Dr. Antoine Medley does sound good, but I don't think I'm ready to do that. So I'll leave that. I'll leave that to other people. But again, thanks for joining. I've got another dynamic guest on. This young lady, she's a fourth generation entrepreneur. She's a writer. She's a creator. She's a motivator. She's a mom. When I think about her, I think there's nothing she can't do. She motivates me. I watch her from afar, and I watch the things that she's doing, and I'm like, man, how does she do all that? Do all that? But I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to bring Jessica Everhart on the line with us, and let you guys meet her, because I know she's going to blow you away, because she blows me away all the time. Jessica. How are you?
Hey, good. I'm texting my mom. She's over here telling me she's watching on Facebook, so I had to give my mom some shout out. Hey, mom.
Oh wow, that's good. That's
You
good.
got one, but one person is definitely watching us tonight, and that is Rhonda. Hello, Rhonda.
Well, that's good. Hey, that's awesome. So
Well,
so
thank you for having me on here, Dr. Antoine Medley. I'm putting it
oh
out into the universe.
no, don't do that.
No, we don't want to do it. Okay, we'll take it back. We'll take it back. We'll take it back.
No. Let's take that back. Take millionaire at Mantua Medley. How about that one? I'll take that.
Okay, well, okay, come on, millionaire Antoine. Whatever you need it to be, friend, is what I'm gonna
Right,
say.
right.
How
So
about
how?
that?
Hey, I'll take it. So how have you been?
I'm
How have you
good. We're
been?
playing a little bit of gymnastics here because I'm in my living room and I've got light rings and windows and everything. So we were talking about that before we jumped on. That it's me against the sun. At the moment. I'm gonna do my best. I have all the lights around me, but you know how this goes. But I'm
Yeah.
doing great. I can't listen. We've had a tough couple of years. We all know it, and I'm feeling great about 2022. I feel
Hmm.
good about it's not easy, but I'm feeling good about the energy that I'm feeling from other people, and it just it just feels I'm wearing this year a little different than I have in the past. So
Hmm. I know since I met you, gosh, we met each other. What is it? Maybe three and a half years ago now. I mean, because
maybe longer. Yeah.
last 2 years have been blur,
I
right?
know. I think it's
And
been about 4 years, friend. It's
right,
been
right.
4
And since I met you, you're very you're like my daughter, my youngest daughter. I tell her all the time. I'm like, Clark, you're an empath. And she looks at me like that. The first time I told her that, she's like, Daddy, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Mm,
Clark, you take on other people's feelings, and you want to help everybody that you see that's not doing well, that's not feeling well. You know what I'm saying? And just
mm,
ever since I met you, you seem like that type of person where you're motivated. You want people to do well. You want people to feel good. And then the things that I watch, like you're talking your 28 day of reinvention, I was just like,
mm.
there she goes. There she's doing her thing, trying to help people, and help her herself, because we help ourselves. If we help ourselves, we help other people. Right. So,
1,000%.
so tell us a little bit about that, the 28-day reinvention.
Yeah, so that this program, so I just a little bit of background. I've been in corporate, just a little background on me so they know kind of where I'm coming in on this program. But I've been in corporate America or in some semblance of a 9 to 5 for decade, 20 years. And about maybe 7 years in, I started my own business, right? And I am a fourth generation entrepreneur, so entrepreneurship is definitely in my blood. And so I got my real estate license, right? I did a little pampered chef. I did pick a thing. I did it. Arbonne, right? Because I always felt like, well, it's just cheaper to buy the package. I don't know. I'll just say I'm going to sell it, right?
Right.
Um, so I did those things, and then I started to get seriously into entrepreneurship and make investments in my business and start to scale and scale in the sense of like the investment. I started to think about like bigger clients and growing the portfolio. But I continued to keep my 9 to 5. The reason why I'm saying this is that the 28-day program is all about reinvention. And I've worked in many different sectors, sports and entertainment. I was a producer for football games for basketball and NFL and NBA in Ohio. So the Bengals, the Browns, and the Cavs. And I then went and worked, well, right out of college, was working in finance with General Electric, right? Then I went and
Mhm.
to Girl Scouts and did the nonprofit thing because I wanted to give back to the world. And that was amazing to work with those young people. A lot of people here in the Triangle know that I worked with Capital Broadcasting Company and the American
Mhm.
Underground and co-founded Black Wall Street Homecoming while I was here. And then where we met was Leadership Triangle, where I was
Right.
the executive director of that organization, learned a lot. And it was during that process that where I was a student, I was in class just like you were
Mhm.
in 2012 and 2016, and then became the executive director at the end of 2016, where this idea started to percolate, knowing that so many of my pivots, because I love the name of your podcast, so many of my pivots, many of them were forced. Some
Mhm.
of them were by design. But either way, most cases I was sort of alone in my head. I hadn't really mastered like partnerships and relationships and this whole idea of a board of directors and all that stuff. I was doing so much of it on my own that I thought, well, it might be a good idea to think about what I've learned, what lessons I would teach around this, and start a business. It's like meta. It's very meta because I left in the pandemic to start a company
Right.
about reinvention. So it was like
Right.
I was teaching it and doing it at the same time
Mhm.
and not getting it all right, but certainly, there wasn't anybody closer to that subject matter than me in that moment. And so 28 days of reinvention is exactly that. It's 28-day program. It's a cohort format. So women come together. We usually have no more than 6 because it's very intimate, and the things women share about their journey and what they want to accomplish in their dreams are very special, very important, that they feel like they're heard and seen every week. And so we take them through a week to week program. I have my book over here somewhere. They go through a workbook that we designed.
Mhm.
It's very professional, videos, the whole thing. And then with me every single Sunday, these women come together and we process the week prior, and we're really taking them on a journey, a road trip. We're taking them on a road trip to their dream. And that could be it could be a lot of things. It could be,
Right.
I want to go from middle management to senior executive, and I want a pathway to that. It could be I want to resign and start something new in the same industry, but a different company. It could be I want to go into an entirely different field
Different
of
field.
work, go back to school, start a new business. It could be anything. But the thing is, you said it best in the opening, and I was listening in, you were talking about your comfort zone,
Mhm.
getting out of your comfort zone.
Right.
What matters, I think, right now is that we experiment, that we get brave around our dreams because we only have one life to live, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree so much. And like I said, I mean that I mean you know that you have one life to live, and I've always known that. But when my brother passed in August, it just sealed it for me. It was like
Mm,
you got to
good.
do all you're going to do now, because you don't have tomorrow. You don't know what's coming tomorrow,
Yeah.
and it's things are so fragile, and you can't sit back and say, I work in the field, doing some agile stuff, right? And it's like you can't wait until it's all done to
Yeah.
just do it. You got to just do it.
Yeah.
And I mean the model that you just mentioned about the 28-day reinvention, I was like, wow, that's what we did with the leadership
Hmm.
triangle. It's
Hmm.
just like, that's smart. I mean, you let us do that, so why couldn't you go do that on your own, right?
Hmm. Yep.
We had a guest last week, Craig Stokes, and he got he won not won, but he got the clearance to get a franchise for Chick-fil-A, right?
Okay,
And
good. That's
so
great.
his Chick-fil-A was going to open, I think he said March or April of 2020.
Okay. Okay.
So
Wow.
he opens his Chick-fil-A
As soon as the world shut down.
as soon as the world
It's
went.
like his grand opening, and then it was like so much for that. See you in 2 years.
Right. So I mean, with your business, were you doing something? Were you launching something right around the time that things were getting crazy?
Yeah, it's a great question. I launched my entire company on July 1st of 2020. So I
Mm,
left my 6-figure job and full benefits. I'm just saying it all because for entrepreneurs, this is the thing we say to ourselves. I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to leave my steady check. I'm going to leave my benefits. I'm going to leave the security. And I call it this, I don't call it, I didn't coin this, obviously, the safe zone, but I think about a comfort cliff
mhm.
that we're all on it at any given point. We're on this comfort cliff, and we're either in the safe zone, which is where I was, the empowerment zone, which is where you start to practice what you need to take the leap. And then you get to the growing edge. And that's where you see all the potential of what your dream is. And you choose in that moment, do you have what you need to take the leap?
Hmm.
And on July 1st, even though I was working from home, I had prepared my team that I was my organization that I was leaving in the middle of a pandemic. to their dismay, they were all like, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" And they said, this was really cute actually. My board chair was like, "Jes, this thing is going to blow over. We'll be out of this thing probably by the end of the year. Just hang in there. Why don't you just stay, and take it easy?" You know what I mean? Like the rest of the world. Why are you starting a company?
Right.
Just take it easy, girl, and do the things
And
that
you're not
everybody
just doing it on
else
the
is doing.
side, right? You're not just doing. You're like, see you later. I'm cutting the cord.
Cut my
I'm
check, and I went into my business with I luckily I had 3 great clients, and I tripled my income the very next day. But now let's be clear, that sounds like, "Oh, it's amazing." It was work. I mean, I
yeah,
was preparing and laying the pathway to be able to do that so that I could comfortably jump, but I've been working really hard to get
right,
to the point where I felt like I could do it.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like you were forced to do that, or do you?
No.
So
No, no,
you
no,
weren't.
no. No, no, unless you think about it in terms of like being true to myself.
Ah,
So, if you're asking it that way, then absolutely 100%. I was probably a little behind. Probably
mhm,
should have done it sooner. But I definitely didn't feel forced. In fact, logic would say I shouldn't have done it at the time that I did in the middle of pandemic. But there have been other times where reinvention is forced upon you, and that's just something within your company or some changes in your department, or you get laid off. That's forced reinvention. Like we don't
mhm,
have a choice. Frankly, let's also be honest. You know, when you say pivot and reinvention, to me those are very similar. And so the definition of reinvention is the act or process by which something is changed so much that it appears entirely new.
mhm.
And we can if we take that definition and we lay it on top of I've been thinking a lot about this, as you can imagine, because I have this definition memorized. But you lay it on top of what we've just experienced. The entire globe just reinvented itself.
Right.
So we were all forced to pivot, and we know this is not even like, I'm not saying anything new, but we should think about it that way. Like, you're different now, we're all different now, and to require ourselves to go back into what we were doing before is silly. So it'll never be the same.
Yeah, because because you think about how far things did go, how
Yeah.
far we changed. Is like to go back is like to go way back,
Yeah.
right? Why would you put the energy in doing that? Why
Well,
would
right.
you?
And again, you're entirely new. So
Right.
we have to see that it's over. Like, the thing that you want to go back to isn't real anymore. It's over. Like, we're entirely new. So now we start fresh, which I think is exciting. A lot of people get scared around that. I think it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I'm a Marvel fan. I sort of think about it like, it's like Spider-Man got bit and he became Spider-Man, right? So why would he go back to before he got bitten?
Right.
You know, that's so far to go back. It's
Yeah.
like once the Hulk became green, he stays green. Why
Yeah.
would you go back to David Banner? Why would you do that? I
Yeah.
mean, you've got and plus you've got so much further to go in the future, right? I mean, because that's still sort of, no day is promised to you, but that's sort of an endless thing as long as you're still here, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're here, as long as you're here, you can keep moving on,
Hmm.
and I'm a firm believer in that. As long as you're here, you can keep going. As long as
Yeah.
you can keep going, why,
Go.
why not go? Exactly. Why
Go.
not go, man?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on
So
that for sure.
so and I've done some things and I would say in my extracurricular career, not in my 9 to 5, but I mean as far as like, I've started some nonprofits, I've done that work, and it's just like, you know, I mean it was enjoyable work, but it's just like it did. I don't think it grabbed me enough to just say, you know what, I'm going. I'm
Yeah.
leaving. I'm leaving this 9 to 5 thing, and I'm going to go do this. Now I know professionally, I made a decision because I work in IT, right?
Hmm.
And so I was like, well, I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want to stay super duper technical. I didn't want to do that, so I was like, okay, it's time to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
I started going down the road of some different, different frameworks and things like that as a certification, and then I decided to go back to school, and that was all a reinvention. That was
Yeah.
just say, you know what? I got to make a different Antoine. I got to stack something on top of this 20 years of IT experience. I got to put something on top of that to make me better, something that'll carry me on to the future, because that's the key. It really is just if you're going to reinvent yourself, you do it in a way that's going to project you forward, not just keep you moving slowly where you are. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you know,
and you are kind of a model in that, just having, spent a chunk of time with you with Leadership Triangle. You were very much like that. It's not like you had to do it. You wanted to do it. Like, you kind of seek out professional development. Think about it. You're always trying to be better. I mean, even this podcast is optional. You're doing it because you want to, not because you have to.
right.
And I think that's really cool. I think, not everybody has that in them, and it's not a big, it's everybody to each his own, but I really do love that you lean into that element of your character, because it makes your life richer, I think, and more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I try to challenge people with, is like, do different things, enjoy different, take a little bit of a risk, go in territory that is unfamiliar. Because it just makes you, frankly, more interesting of a person.
Right.
And you have more things to talk about.
It makes me more. There you go. When you get around a bunch of people, you got more to talk about.
That's 100% right.
And when we were talking earlier, and I told you I wrote a children's book, right?
Yep.
I wrote a children's book. It's called the Epic Journeys of Morgan and Clark. It's a children's book.
That's cool.
And
Cool
I told myself, okay, it's going to be a series. So I'm like, okay, I got to start working on the next one, right? Is the Epic Journeys of Morgan and Clark, Running with Harriet. It's a book about my daughter, my two daughters, Morgan and Clark.
Yep.
They're on an expedition with Harriet Tubman, and I'm like, okay, so I got to get the next one out, because I remember when I was doing some other work in the community. I wasn't doing it in the community, but my wife and I, all the Santa Clauses in my house are African American, right?
Yeah, same here.
So when we took our kids to the mall, they were like, "Daddy, where's our Santa? He's not
Where's
our
the Black Santa?"
That's exactly what they asked for. And when they said that to me, I went into action. I set up a location, got a Santa suit, had somebody dressed up as Santa, and there we are. We were giving pictures. And this was probably, my youngest daughter is 17. So this was probably 13 to 14 years ago. There were no Black Santas in Wayne County.
That's amazing, friend. First of all, you can't solve all the world's problems. I just want to remind you, friend, that just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I do appreciate in that moment that you solved that for your girls. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I got to do it, because I'm like, okay, if I can't find them somebody, then what I'm going to do? And I can't keep them asking me about it. Daddy, so where's our Santa? So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Not take them in the mall, But hey, my daughters are funny, and I told my wife we're on a we're like 15-month countdown to the empty nesters. So,
Ooh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Okay, normally I would never do this on a podcast, but because we're friends, I'm moving so that I can see you can see me, I can see me. I feel like this is family. Nobody cares. Right? Everybody's good. See, look, there I am. Hello.
There you go. More light.
There we go. There we go. The sun set around me, and this little light ring isn't really hanging with me. So
right.
All right.
So question. The Black Wall Street homecoming, is that still going on?
We pause when pandemic happened, and our team hasn't reconvened. I mean, Black Wall Street Homecoming as a brand is still alive and well. Tobias Rose, who's one of our co-founders, still does some content and uses the Black Wall Street brand. But as far as the conference hasn't been reinstituted. And it's a very good question. I think interestingly enough, all of our co-founders, there were 4 of us, we all did something different, except for Tobias, because he's a business owner and has been for many years, is very successful. And so he didn't up and start something new. He did branch out and do some different things, but the rest of us, we all started something new. I started a company. Tobias is in investing now, and he's deep into that work, impact investing. And Dee started a new position as a global lead of diversity for a company. So we're all kind of in different directions. but what does tie us together is Black Wall Street Homecoming. And so I think people should just kind of keep an eye
So,
out.
so what was it? It was just a conference of what in Durham?
Yeah, so we created Black Wall Street Homecoming as our answer to the lack of funding for Black entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Like, as we know, there's an egregious gap in funding, venture capital, angel investing, friends and family. Like, to get our businesses up and off the ground is a Herculean effort at times. And so, and we find that there's a big group of necessity driven entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs that in order for them to make ends meet at the end of the month, they have a side gig, they have the side hustle. And so what Black Wall Street Homecoming did was bring that community, whether it's tech and scalable and multi-million dollar idea, or a mom and pop, or, you know, a smaller business. We brought all those founders together
Mhm.
for a couple of days, for a week, and help them, you know, provide them mentorship, gave them an opportunity to be with it in the culture, right? Which is very important, is that we create space where we can be in our culture and not have to assimilate into other cultures, but just be in our culture. Had a house party, you know, had pitch competitions, had our mentorship, had people that look like us on stage that were a little further ahead. And
Mhm.
so we basically, if you can see it, you can be it kind of theme. That's what that week was about.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean that sounds great.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was
it
it
sounds
was
so much. It was so
we
needed. I
didn't
mean,
do
it's so
it. Now
yeah.
now that I've said it, I'm like, oh, we need to bring that back, because that was really, I mean, it was good. We this will be year 7 for us. I mean, this wasn't a
Wow.
notion, and we lifted it for 5 years. So
That-
it was a great effort. And by the way, I tell you, the people that came into Durham that we had as speakers or as judges for our pitch competition are like on covers of magazines, selling their companies, millionaires now. I mean,
wow.
the folks that we had the opportunity to really see and work with and be coached by, or just hang out at my house, because this is where the house party was. You know, they were building then. And
Mhm.
just within 5 years, they're now selling, starting new businesses, and they're creating a lot of wealth for their families and for those that they communicate with, you know, or that they impact. I shouldn't say communicate, but those that they impact, their families and communities. It's very cool.
I mean, when I think about the title of the podcast, and I think about like all the work that you do for yourself, and then
Yeah.
all the work that you do helping other people, it's like you're like a master pivoter. It's like you're the pivot whisperer. Like,
Ooh, can I borrow that?
yeah, you're like the pivot whisperer, man. It's just
Like
like,
that.
you know, you help people sort of, you don't tell them what to do, but you help them to find their way to change,
Yeah.
right? Whether
Thank
it's
you.
community work or whether it's corporate work, entrepreneur work, personal work, I mean, and that's one thing that I've always seen in you. It's just like, man, she's just like, she can motivate people. She can just help people, find their way. Right. Because a lot of times that's all people need. They just need, you're like a therapist. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
therapist. They're not going to tell you anything. They're just going to help you find your way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean
Yeah.
that's
Thank you.
awesome. And,
I
and since
appreciate that. I take that as a compliment, because I
and
think,
you've been doing this for you've been doing this for a while, and I mean now you're like, I'm doing this full time on my own, my dime. I'm working for me. So
yeah.
it's like you're the poster child for this,
Mhm.
for change, for being ambitious and trying new things. And because I mentioned to one of on one of the shows that I've got a project I'm working on with and I was working on it by myself, and I was just like, this is too big,
Mm.
and this is one thing that I'm finally learning, that I can't do it all by myself. I've got to get a team of people around me to help me with this thing, because I think
Mhm.
it's a viable idea. I think it's something that's needed, but I can't do it alone, you know.
Yeah.
And so now I've got to like, I think it's like 3 of us. It's like I'm like, I try to tell the guys, I'm like, hey man, look, this isn't the Antoine show and your assistants. This is all 3 of us.
Mhm.
If you guys see this as a valuable thing, then we're equal partners in this thing. We're going to do it together. This is not going to be just my show,
Right.
and I keep motivating them with that, because don't look at it as in, no, this is all three of us,
Yeah.
all three of us, because more minds, the diverse minds are better, because I know I darn sure can't think of everything, so I need other people to help me do that. But
Yeah.
it's something that I'm working on. I'll get with you offline and I'll mention it to you and
Okay.
see what you think. And
I'd love to hear about it and see if there's any insight. I don't know that I have any insight, but I might have some, or at least be able to provide a recommendation. Some
right.
people, anybody that can help or support you. But I
Yeah,
love
and everybody that I tell about it, that no one has told me. And some people just say, oh yeah, it's a good idea for the sake of saying it's a good idea. But I mean, I've kind of done some research and I've talked to some people. And I'm doing my little focus groups to say, what do you think about this? And they're just like,
Mhm.
man, this is a great idea.
Mm.
So, but I'll have to chat with you offline about it until I'm ready to tell
Yeah.
the world about it.
Yeah. I know
Because
you've got everybody who's watching kind of like, well, what is it? What is
yeah.
this? What is this thing? What are we talking about? But one of the things you just said, I think for our audience's purposes, if we have folks who are entrepreneurs or those who want to be entrepreneurs, this is like now sage advice. It was a real hot thing about 7, 8 years ago, but it's not the hot thing anymore. It's just it's practical. And that is, if you're starting a business, you said, you've done the research or looking out into the marketplace, whatever. If you are thinking about starting a business, the first thing I would do with your idea is run it through very quickly. Just run it quickly, meaning like take a couple days, run it through the lean canvas model, which you
Hmm.
can find online. So this is democratized. Just go out online. You'll find 1,000 versions of it, but it should be one page. It should be a grid, and it's going to tell you to put your idea in there. It's going to ask you very thoughtful, provocative questions around your business and help you frame your business model. And there will be points where you get stuck. Like, it's going to ask you who your competitors are. And if you don't know that, you need to stop and figure that out. Like,
Hmm.
that's how it does. So it's like pushes you along. And by the end, that one page will be the blueprint for your business. And it'll also inform you whether or not you go or you stop. It's the stop go. It's the red light, green light. And and you should, and either way is a good thing. So if you're red lighted and you're like, this isn't viable, I'm realizing now because of the lean canvas that the market is saturated. I'm not going to be able to be successful in this market, whatever. The red light means good. You just saved yourself time and money. So
Right.
great. There's nothing wrong with that. It means that you had a good idea, but it's already been thought of 100 times. So leave it alone. If it's a green light because you feel like I can enter the market, I can take a position that I have a differential value proposition in the
Hmm.
marketplace. What I'm offering is unique. It might be similar, but it's distinctly different enough that I can get potential traction. That's a green light. Go. That's good.
Right.
So good, good. Both are good, but the process, do not skip that process
And
because you
and and
don't.
and I, and I that's one thing I learned in my MBA program, was that my because my concentration was in advanced management, and we went through
Okay.
all those processes. And while I was in the leadership training program, we went through the lean canvas model, right? And
Yep.
that
You
and
sure
that
did.
blew me away. And then I ran it across it in my studies, and in my last big paper I had to write, that was in there.
Yep. Yep.
That was definitely in the paper,
But you would
because
be surprised, Antoine, how many people don't know, especially people that look like us. They don't know about this lean canvas because they maybe didn't. I don't have an MBA, so I didn't go to,
Mhm.
Wharton School of Business or Fuqua. I didn't, that's not what I'm doing. I didn't do that. So I
Mhm.
learned because I was in the startup world and
Right.
I
There you go.
learned about it. And so I think it's really important that we talk about it and never assume that people know these things because,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm not even just saying people of color, I'm talking about just anybody who's
People,
an
period.
entrepreneur. If you're not in the world of that, or you don't have friends who have entrepreneurship background or family, you're not going to know what I'm talking about
Right.
until I say the thing. So go look that up. It will save you, like I said, the time and money, because you don't want to do this exercise after you've dropped
Right. Money.
$5,000 on a
Right.
website.
Right.
Registered your business, decided you wanted business cards, which I highly don't agree with anymore. But like, say you wanted, the whole placard on your car, all the things
Right.
you want, because those are the fun things to do with the business, is to market yourself. And you realize there's no chance of you making money.
Oh yeah.
So
I think I heard a quote recently. It's like a business is not a business until you make money. Right. I mean, everybody's
somebody
launching
buys it.
companies.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
But with the lean canvas model, and there's another framework that I fell into that just like blew my mind, that I haven't been able to shake, and I sort of use it all the time. It's called design thinking.
Yeah.
Where and the first thing you do is you put yourself in the situation of the customer, of your potential customer. You empathize with them and you figure out what they want. And but if because you could build something, and I talk about this, I think about this at even at my job sometimes. It's like, why are we, we're building this, we're building that, you know, we're building different technologies and things like that. But I'm like, well, did anybody ask for that? You
Yeah.
know, if nobody asks for it, it's like, well, why are we doing it? You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No,
you know,
that's a
it's
really good point. That's excellent. But it's like, does it a market fit? What is the market demanding right now?
correct.
And also prototyping, like with design thinking, one of the
Yeah,
keys there is to prototype.
prototype.
Is literally, you could make something in 2 hours and create a
Hmm.
prototype of what it looks like. And we did that with my business. We beta tested my business. I mean, we didn't just assume or make presumptions that the market wanted what I thought they wanted based
Hmm.
on my own experience. I'm very close to my business because I'm doing it every day, but I'm not an expert in the sense that I can speak for all women across the globe about what they need at any given time. And so
Right.
for me, the beta testing process that we went through last fall was crucial.
Hmm.
And I almost fought it because I was ready to go to market. I'm serious. I have people on my team. So I went from being a solo entrepreneur to now we have about 5 people on a team. And I say about because we have interns. We have 2 interns. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 people, 2 interns included. And I was like, I'm ready to go to market. I've spent a lot of my own money. I'm invested in this thing. I believe in it. I know it's going to work, blah, 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 because it's your idea. It's very
Right.
personal.
It's your baby, right?
It's your baby. And one of our team members / advisors was like, no, we have to beta. We have to beta. And I'm so glad that we did. He's the only guy on the team. So I'm not going to give the man credit, but I'm going to say that he was a great advisor. He's just in general, a great advisor. And he, for my women's program, right? So
Right.
he was a great advisor. And he said, no, we have to beta. And thank God, because in that fall cohort, our beta was so amazing. These women were bought in. They had an amazing experience. The feedback was really phenomenal. And I say that just like I was shocked. You don't usually expect to get that kind of, but it's so personal that of course it either worked or didn't. They were either going to love it or
Right.
hate it.
Right.
But they gave me very specific ways to improve my product. And we took the very next month and we dug in hard. My team met in person many, 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 many times over the holidays to get it right. And then we relaunched our 2.0 within 30 days. We had a better product for the customer within 30 days because the beta test was so, so critical.
That's good. I mean, and again, the iteration on it, right? That's the key. And like we talked about books, right? You write this book, it's out there. But
Yeah,
other business things, you can't just throw it out there and think it's gonna what you throw out there is gonna be good enough to stay in the next year,
that's
because
right.
things happen so fast, right? So it's
That's
not going
right.
to last a year because
That's
somebody
right.
else is could pick it up and do it better than you, and the next thing you know, you're behind in things. So
Yeah.
things are always having to change, and like with the thing that I'm working on, we're getting ready to do the same thing. We're like, let's beta test this thing. Let's do it and see what happens. And
Yeah.
we're kind of building the plane. I heard somebody in my training class that we were building a plane as it's falling from the sky. It
Mm.
doesn't have to always be the best plane. I don't have to build a 747. I just got to build something that'll glide, right?
Yeah.
So I won't hit the ground too hard. But and I'm really bought into this whole agile thing. It's just like iterate, make it better, iterate, make it better.
Yep.
Test it, beta test it. Get your feet, and like you said, get your feedback, and that's crucial. Is getting that feedback so that you can do it better.
Yeah.
So
And with our program, we run it every month. So it's almost like a laboratory monthly. We change it. We're changing language. We're thinking about, reorganizing certain things. And
mhm,
every month our team meets at the end to just debrief, plus delta, where we at, how do we change it, how do we make it better, and we have that luxury, because we're small and we are agile, so we can improve our product every 30 days, which is pretty
exactly.
remarkable.
That is remarkable. That is remarkable. But just to tell you, I wasn't going to keep you all night. We're coming up on 40 minutes. So I promise you, I wasn't going to keep you long. But this has been good for me. And I know somebody whoever hears this is going to help them,
Good.
in some way. So, I hope the Lean Canvas Models webpage just blows up.
I know. I mean, there are
Because
thousands of them, so somebody's gonna, get a hit.
right. So
um
just go to Google and look up Lean Canvas Model. Go to Google, look up design thinking. This stuff is,
it's out there
because when
and
when
it's
I ran
free.
across it, it just like lit me on fire. I was
Yeah.
just like ready, losing my mind about it. But it's all free. It's just free information.
Free. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it. Maybe the last, you're not asking me for tips, but I'm going to give them. I got so many things to say about business, starting a business, because I've fallen, I've run fast, fallen, got up, whatever.
Right.
Um, Everything you need to know is out there. Like, you don't have to, like, I've invested a lot of actual real money into my business because we developed a product, but the intellectual knowledge around how to build that business and how to do it, not make mistake, like learning from others' mistakes, it's all out there. It's open sourced, it's what they call it. So
Hmm.
it's democratized, and just real entrepreneurs are going to put the work in. You're going to stay up a little later, you're going to do the research, you're going to figure out, like I said earlier, what differentiates you in the marketplace. And I'm a big believer in just, knowledge is power.
Hmm.
Go out there and learn, be the best at what you do, dig real deep, and keep learning. Just keep learning, because the market is changing so fast.
Right.
Workplace scenarios, culture, everything is shifting. So like I said before, and reinvention is when you look entirely new. We are new, and it is going to require a new set of eyes and a whole new playbook on how you succeed, and that means you have to be up on it. So
Right.
keep ahead of the game, dig in, go on Google, research, and then follow me so I can give, because I think we're done, so I want people to know where I'm at. And I don't think it's on here, but it's easy because my name is the website, so you can go to jesaverhart.com,
Right.
see the work that I do. It'll take you to the Reinvention road trip site, which is where our 28-day program is. And if I have ladies on here who are interested in it, we have a cohort that starts in like 2 weeks. Would love to have you join us. Men, if you're on here and you got women in your life that you think could benefit from the support of other women, where we build you up, love up on you, inspire you. That's my whole jam. So all I get up for that's all I do, is want women to reclaim their power and
Right.
to dig in. So, and we need men to champion women to do that.
I
So
agree. I agree so much. Well, thank you for your time. And like
thank
I
you,
said,
friend.
I'll be reaching out to you for me.
Good,
And hey, I'll talk to my wife as well.
good, good.
And
Well,
see.
we need to catch up offline. So I'd love to do that anytime.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much.
having me on. I appreciate it. Bye,
No.
everybody.
Bye bye. Thanks everybody for listening in. Again, Jes is like I said before, she's the pivot whisperer, and she changes lives. I mean, I know a lot of the people that came through the leadership triangle program. She's definitely inspired many of them. She's introduced us all to a lot of things that we may not have seen before, and I thank her for it. So I'll let you guys go, but please listen, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing, and we'll definitely we'll iterate on what we're doing and try to make things better, and bring you more guests, more content, more things that'll feed us all. So thanks everybody. See ya.